gather around the table once again for another session of Dungeons and Drakfus, and today is an awesome day. We find ourselves back in the Warden's Cage. We have done the battle for Mount Hyjal. We've done everything leading up to the Black Temple. Now we just need to start the offensive on it. And so we're back with Akama to turn in the time-worn phylactery that he wanted.
Our walls are impervious.
Have you retrieved the phylactery at Drakfu?
Yes, I have.
My vision, it all becomes clear now. The powers this artifact has over a soul, to contain it, to siphon it into itself. I will use those powers to reclaim what belongs to me. The time has arrived for us to take the fight to Illidan.
Okay, so the hostage soul.
You might wonder why I go to such lengths to hide my intentions. Why not throw my lot in openly with the Naru? My very essence, my soul, is held prisoner inside the Black Temple. Illidan could destroy me any moment. Until now, this phylactery will allow me to regain control of my soul. The time has come, Drakfu. I will lead Maiev and my death sworn to Illidan's doorstep. Speak to Adal and tell him of our plan. If we strike together, we'll break through Illidan's defenses.
Okay, so
Guide you.
just want to make sure. Yep, so this cell won't hold me for long. I will have Illidan's head one way or another. So basically what's going to happen as soon as we leave, he is going to free Maiev. And they are actually going to begin their assault. So first of all, we need to head back to Shatrath to see if we can get Adal's forces now that we have internal conflict within. So like the death... Basically what Akama is going to try and do, his Deathsworn won't fight him. They're loyal to Illidan because of the whole soul situation. But if you can get the soul back, the Ashtongue are his again. And at that point, you actually have like an army within that can take him out. Because one of the biggest factions of the Illidari, well, not Demon Hunters, but Illidan's forces, is the Ashtongue. So we would actually get one of those factions. We don't have to worry about the Naga anymore, or Vaj sending reinforcements. We don't have to worry about Kale sending reinforcements. This is a good situation. But we're going to go ahead and do a quick magic cut while we fly back to Shatrath. Okay, we are back in Shatrath, so it's time for us to warn Adal that the offensive on the Black Temple has begun. Adal's light surrounds you as he welcomes you back. You have a feeling he knows what you're about to ask of him. So entry into the Black Temple. Adal shows you an image of a Naru outside of the Black Temple, fighting alongside Draenei Vindicators and Blood Elf Magisters. You immediately understand that this is the distraction Akama is waiting for. So we need to travel to the entrance of the Black Temple and speak to Ziri, who is the other Naru. If people remember from our Shadowmoon Valley questing, we actually met Ziri, I think, at least once. So we're going to go ahead and fly back with a quick magic cut and meet up with Ziri at the Black Temple. Welcome, everyone, to the Black Temple. So, we're here to meet up with Ziri, and there he is, or there it is, because it's Naru. It's time for us to assault Illidan's stronghold, the Black Temple, formerly known as Karabor. Let's go ahead and turn in the quest, and then we will do what we usually do in Dungeons & Drakfus, where we'll go into the lore of where we're about to raid. And let's talk to Ziri first. Ziri appears to acknowledge your presence. He seems to be focused on the battle in the surrounding area. A distraction for Akama. Ziri pulses with light as the Aldor and Scryer forces around him respond to his orders. Ziri's army is ready to push Illidan's forces back and create a distraction for Akama. The Naru awaits your request to begin the attack. So obviously we'll want to do this, and we will get the Medallion of Karabor as a reward. So let's go ahead and give him the order. So light pulses blue. The Naru welcomes you as an ally in the field of battle. I am ready to join your forces in battle, Ziri! Ziri falls silent, and a quiet tension falls over the nearby Shatar forces as Ziri makes his decision. So it's time. I believe we're supposed to get a cutscene, but I'm not sure on that. Oh. Maybe give it a second. Ready to join your forces. Ziri begins channeling the powers of the light. Oh no. Let's see if we help these guys out. I believe there's actually a full-on event that's supposed to happen, but it's not happening. So, oh, boom, there we go. Onward, Scryer! Show Illidan's lackeys the temper of our steel! So now you actually can help these guys out. So now we need to enter the Black Temple, so we're going to start up the offensive. And with that, we need to move forward to start taking care of the demons, including the Illidari Dreadlord.
I need to get closer.
Screw you guys! Boom! Take care of everything within our path. There we go. Take care of these Fel Guards. And we'll double back to these guys. Boom! Alright, so now we can move a little bit further. Oh, and what's this? They obviously don't know where they're going. Oh, and actually, yeah, we had worse stuff coming out at us, so... More Dreadlords! No, we must kill them all! People might notice that we actually have Aldor there against us. Oh, Magath! Pitiful wretches! You dare to assault Illidan's temple? Very well. I shall make it your deathbed.
I have waited for this moment for years. Illidan and his lapdogs will be destroyed.
Word must not get back to Illidan.
There we go. Alright, so we've taken care of the Goth. And you guys actually heard the event happening, so that was the distraction that they needed for them to go into this entrance. So a lot of people think, like, with the Black Temple, you would go in through the main door. Nope. Not so. You actually go in through a repaired part of the battlement, and you work your way up from the sewers, like Illidan did when he took over. So that's something to keep in mind, and there you go. Now we have some actual Ash-Tongue Deathsworn that are making their way to the entrance to the Black Temple to help secure it. Oh, I wish I could find a comma in Maiev so that you guys can see it. They will be in the temple eventually, but it's kind of frustrating. I can't find them there. Let's see. And now they are making their way into the Black Temple, and there's a comma. So he said, slay all who have seen us. Word must not get back to Illidan, because then he'll unleash a common soul. He's actually corrupted it, so it would take over his body, and he would be pure evil at that point. So there you go. So we've helped Maiev and Akama enter the Black Temple, even though we didn't really see them. I think they start off way in the back with Ziri, and then you make your way back up, but it's okay. We'll turn this in with Ziri really quick. The light surrounding Ziri pulses blue. Oh, yes, we already know this part. So Ziri pulses with energy as you feel an object materialize in your hands. It is the medallion that you gave to Adal on Akama's behalf. Its power augmented by the Naru's magic. The Shatar have entrusted you with the Medallion of Karabor, and with it, access to the Black Temple. So, seek out the Ash Tongue. As you look up at Ziri, your mind becomes focused and your will determined. Your work here is not done. You must go inside the Black Temple and find Akama's followers. Much depends upon Akama's success. So, let's explain this really quick. If you were to start up brand spanking new right now, you could go into the Black Temple, it wouldn't matter. But back in Burning Crusade days, you actually had to attune. And the attunement was this line of quests. So a lot of people have been wondering, why have I added these quests to the various dungeons and raids? It's because simply this is a full-on story that's being told of assaulting the Black Temple and dethroning Illidan Stormrage. So, and I find it appropriate to do this. Now that we have the Medallion of Karabor, we would technically, back in Burning Crusade days, have access to the Black Temple. We don't need it anymore. We could technically walk in, but I figured that this would be a good little bit of story for you guys to have. Now, another thing before we get things started with the lore and all that, I am also going to tag in the description a couple of videos. First of all, the Black Temple trailer. There is a legit trailer for the Black Temple, which gives a little bit more background into Akama and why he actually did this. So I will also link that in, and it's an official Blizzard trailer. The other thing I'm also going to link is Noble's story of Illidan Stormrage. So if you don't know that, this is the best way to be able to get that. It does not include Legion material, but at least you'll be able to get up until this point in his history. And I'm also thinking, do I want to include anything else? Let's get a little bit deeper, and then I'll worry about that. But yeah, Illidan and also the Black Temple trailer, because it's also really, really, really good. Here we go. Oh, another thing, too, I might do is like an overview of the Illidan novel, because that actually sheds some more light into the situation. But first, this is Dungeons and Drakfus. We covered lore. So let's go ahead and step on into the Black Temple. And I love it. We get Illidan as the loading screen. This is what makes this game awesome. We get these occasionally. So, first of all, let's go into the lore before we officially make our way in. The Black Temple is, this is according to Wowpedia, by the way. The Black Temple is a fortress citadel of Illidan Stormrage, Lord of Outland. It is once known as the Temple of Karabor, and has changed hands many times over the generations. The entrance to the Black Temple does not appear at its main gates. Like I just explained to you guys, we actually have to work our way up. I'm trying to think if there's actually a history of Karabor. There really isn't. Basically, for those who are interested, Karabor used to be the Draenei Holy Citadel on Draenor. And unfortunately, the war with the orcs eventually made it so that we had to... or they actually lost Karabor, and it then became the Black Temple, because it became like the hosting place for Gul'dan to perform all of his nasty rituals, and eventually for Ner'zhul to attempt to open up numerous worlds out of it. After that, Magtheridon took over as he became the Lord of Outland, and the demons kind of took over, but then was seized by Illidan Stormrage and then became his place. Now, a lot of people have also asked, why is Akama helping you? If he is loyal to Illidan, why is he helping you? If he's got this whole soul situation, very simple. And it actually is explained in the Illidan novel. When Illidan took over the Black Temple, he promised Akama and the Ashtongue that he would immediately hand it over to them to restore Karabor. He did not. He actually decided to utilize its magical waves within it as a base of operations, as well as a base for his plan to attack the Legion. He didn't tell Akama this. And Akama, from there on, was immediately pissed off, said, nope, you promised me this, I don't care anymore. Now I'm going to work with other people, including Maiev Shadowsong and who else, to get you out of here so that they can give us Karabor. And you'll also notice we have the Spirit of Olim. We get as much Ashtongue support in here as we possibly can. And let's go ahead and set foot into the Black Temple. And we literally start from the sewers and the Naga forces that Illidan has under his charge. So let's start things up, shall we? Oh, I'm excited. This is a really cool raid to me. Alright. Make our way into the next door. As you can see, we have a bunch of Hydra, a bunch of Naga, wearing Illidari tabards. And the fun fact is that in the Frozen Throne, when you actually play as Illidan, or Illidan's forces securing the Black Temple for yourself, you start in the sewers too. You actually start in 3 separate areas, and the Naga specifically start out in the sewers. So it makes sense that the Naga forces would establish a foothold within the sewer area of the Black Temple. I also just like saying that, Black Temple. Okay, so we're actually to the first boss, which is High Warlord Nagentis. Let's see if there's actually any lore for him before we make our way over. Let's see. Yep, High Warlord Nagentis. This is probably another Burning Crusade situation where there's not too much about him. Okay. So you can actually see him off in the back right here. So few Naga match the strength of Nagentis. He was a champion of Lady Vaj and servant Illidan Stormrage, and was entrusted the protection of the Black Temple by Lady Vaj. His superior abilities allowed him to surround himself with deadly cold, and his spines and needles could inflict horrific wounds. He was killed during the assault on the temple by Akama, Maiev Shadowsong, and a group of adventurers, aka us. And what makes this even more interesting is that while we're doing this, a bunch of fledgling demon hunters are getting ready to go on their suicide mission just before Legion. I love that too. So So now you get the opening cutscene for the Demon Hunters that actually says, oh yeah, our time grows short, even though you weren't here. Would have actually been cool to run across some like fledgling Demon Hunters in here in the process. Although, who knows? We do have a time-walking Black Temple. Maybe they'll put in a little detail there to help link things. So here we go. Here's Nagentis. And I will slay you in the name of Drakfu. As you can tell, he's not very hard. He's probably one of the first beginnings of like a charity boss. Has very few mechanics to him. Oh, and we get a Leviathan egg, so we got a pet that we could probably sell. And I already have the Halberd of Desolation, which is probably one of the coolest spears in the game. At least to me. I like it. Let's see. Where's the egg? There it is. So we get the Leviathan Hatchling. Now, he is the first boss, and like I said, we were working our way from the sewers up to the top of the city, or the top of the temple. But how do we get out of the sewers? Because, you know... Yeah, how? Simple. We go through the toilet pipes. But there's poop in there! Yes, I know. Suck it up, Drakfu. You're gonna have to go through some poop in order to kill Illidan Stormrage. Maybe even get a Warglaive. That would actually be really funny if we got a Warglaive today. Just gonna say that right now. Yes, so when you killed Illidan Stormrage, you actually had a chance, a very slim chance, to get one of his Warglaives of Azzinoth. There's an offhand one, there's a mainhand one. It created many conflicts for many guilds. But thankfully, some people are actually able to get their paired Warglaives. And with transmog runs, that became even more possible. And there's actually the second boss, Supremus. We're going to try and avoid as many of these demons as we can, because you don't necessarily have to kill them. But as you can see, we have Dragonmaw Orcs here, Dragonmaw Fell Orcs, rather, and a bunch of demons under Illidan's control to defend the Black Temple. So let's go ahead and get the lore for Supremus, second boss of the Black Temple. Now, I have to actually manually search this, so bear with me, guys. Also, happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Let's see. Supremus is the second boss of the Black Temple. Nope, there really isn't any loot or any lore about him, except that he is a much more powerful Infernal, working directly for Illidan Stormrage. So let's go ahead and take care of Supremus.
It's too far away.
You know what you're walking into when all of a sudden you just read, this is the second boss in the Black Temple. Good to know. Enjoy my Fists of Fury. Oh no, Bluebell Flames. Don't stand in fire, people. Boom! Okay, so Supremus is dead. Let's see, did we get any stuff that we can... Oh, a Shard of Supremus. So we got Abyssius. More pets for me to sell. Because they just barely added these recently. Crossbow. No, I don't want that. Right now for a transmog run, this has not proven any more fruitful. Alright, it's time for us to enter the Black Temple itself. As you can tell, it's very ominous. Very evil. And inside, you can see all of the demons that work for Illidan. So we have a first priority here, and that is to aid Akama in his endeavor to get his soul back. So our next boss actually deals directly with that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and kill these guys. All you gotta do is just go to this room right over here. Now, fun fact, if you are a warlock, as of Mists of Pandaria, you can actually do the Green Fire quest that actually brings you back in here for specific stuff, but you actually get a little bit more lore around Illidan's plans within that. And maybe that's another video I'll put in, you know, because it's stuff that we found out much later in the Mists of Pandaria expansion, but it's still helpful to the story. So as you can tell, there's a big guy of Akama, and that's the Shade of Akama, the third boss. Oh no! I got spotted by Ashton. Sorry, Akama, I had to kill your people. Oh no! The dog can smell me! Okay. Let's go ahead and talk to Akama to start up the encounter.
So, Illidan's grasp over my tribe is strong, Drakfu. It shall be all over soon, one way or another. Are you ready, Drakfu? My people's future depends upon us.
And I'm just going to double check to see if there's any other additional lore that can be added. I don't think so. In fact, the Illidan novel adds a little bit more, where he actually does say that evil has been put into it. Yeah, there really isn't any. So, yeah, basically what Illidan has done with his soul is he's actually infused evil into it. So if at any point Akama betrays him, Illidan could move this soul in there and it would actually consume him completely. He would be evil forever. So let's go ahead and... We're with you, Akama! It's time for us to fight off the shade of Akama. There we go. Now, when you do this, the entire room will be warned of your presence. And this officially becomes like an ad encounter to keep Akama alive while he tries to reclaim his soul. Boom! And what you would need to do in the meantime is kill off these channelers that are trying to keep Akama's soul encased. There we go. So let's try and kill off as many of these guys as we can. But all the while, you could have additional channelers coming in. We don't have to worry about that, though, because we'll just nuke them. And then he would come in. And now the battle for Akama's soul begins. So now we must kill the shade of Akama. Face of Fury! There you go. And now we get a cool little moment. And no real loot that we can transmog. Sad face. Sad face. But hey, we get this cool moment. It's awesome. So let's do this. So now we get to see Akama reclaim his soul.
Broken of the Ashtung tribe, your leader speaks. The betrayer no longer holds sway over us. His dark magic of the Ashtung soul has been destroyed. Come out from the shadows. I've returned to lead you against our true enemy. Shed your chains and raise your weapons against your Illidari masters.
Hail our leader! Hail Akama! Hail Akama! Alright, so from here on, the Ashtung Broken are our allies in the temple. And remember, we actually got a quest from Ziri to seek out the Ashtung Deathsworn within, so that we can actually turn this quest in. So I believe this actually opens it up for us. Let's see, let me just double check. Yeah, inside the Black Temple. So here's what's going to happen. Obviously, you can see some demons still out there, but as soon as we go out, you kind of get the first ever prototype of phasing technology, as now we have Ashtung out in the main courtyard of, or the main area of Black Temple. Which is really helpful, because you can get a repair guy in here. I believe the guy we need to talk to is up this way, but I might be wrong. Yeah, there we go. So we need to seek out the Ashtung, and now they will aid us in our struggle to reclaim the Black Temple. We need to meet with Seer Kanai.
We survive.
We've been expecting you, Drakfu. Akama is in great need of your help.
Yes, so redemption of the Ashtung.
When Illidan obtained the Broken's allegiance, Akama was our wisest. He knew that openly opposing the betrayer would lead to the extinction of our race. Instead, he has plotted and schemed for this very moment under utmost secrecy. Failure would be catastrophic, not just for Akama,
not just for the broken, but for all of Outland. No one this close to Illidan has ever been able to deliver such a terrible blow to him. Help Akama free his soul, and he will grant you access to Illidan's sanctum. So we need to help Akama wrest control back of his soul by defeating the Shade of Akama. Damn it! We just barely did that. Okay. So, that sucks. Because unfortunately we can't reset it. So we're just going to continue on with the questing, and if you guys want to see the quests for yourselves, you're more than welcome to. I will try and come back in here and see if I can do the rest, but unfortunately, I went too fast, and I was supposed to kill the Shade of Akama. Crap! That sucks. Oh well. But you guys can check it out for yourself if you want to. But we're going to continue on in the Black Temple, because the story does continue on, regardless. So let's go ahead and do this, and the first area we need to secure is the upper battlements, which is strictly controlled by the Fell Orcs and Gorfine. Terran Gorfine, if people remember his quest from my Shadowmoon Valley questing. Yep, he's back, and now we actually have to take on the first of the Death Knights. You mean like the Scourge ones? No. The first of the Shadow Council Death Knights. It's kind of a different lore, how they came into being. Similar means of coming into being, but instead of being the Lich King, it was the Shadow Council infusing members of... Oh, cool. We get a transmog item, so we'll get that. Instead, the Shadow Council was infusing their souls into dead human bodies. And that's how Terran Gorfine, or Terran Gore, back in the day, came into being. Now he has kind of a different lore, because if people have played Warlords of Draenor, you actually get a separate lore of Gorfine coming about in a different way. But it's still cool. So many Fell Orcs. So little time. There we go. And dude, we have... What does this thing look like? Is it worth it? Actually, that's pretty good looking. So here we go. Into the battlements we go to take on Terran Gorfine. Oh no! These guys think they can hurt me, but it just tickles. It's a glorified tickle. As you could say, they're actually kind of delving into necromancy once again. There we go. Okay, so we walk in here. And for the record, I'm...
First, you know, for me. So much time has passed. I have a lot of catching up to do.
So I remember when this guy was announced for the Black Temple, so many people crapped their pants. It's like, oh, is this hinting at Death Knights in the game? And I don't know why you would even get that from at least Terran's perspective, because holy crap, man, there's not a whole lot there. But yeah, it was kind of a hinting of what was to come. So Terran Gorfine, is there any lore on you aside from what we've actually shown in it? Or we've shown in the Shadowmoon Valley questing. No, not really in Wowpedia. Oh, here we go. Biography. This might help a little bit. So, Terran Gorfine, born Terran Gore, was one of Gul'dan's followers and a member of the Shadow Council. In death, he became the first of the necromantic terrors that became known as Death Knights. The warriors promised by Gul'dan to appease Orgrim Doomhammer and combat the human mage's powerful magic. Gorfine convinced Ner'zhul to unite the Horde of Draenor and invade other worlds, but was slain by Turalyon at the Black Temple as the planet tore itself apart. Years later, he was resurrected once more and returned to the Black Temple, where he allied with Illidan Stormrage. So this is the guy. I still want his shoulders on some kind of a set. They are so amazing. If I can get the wings, too, that'd be awesome. Hi, Terran Gorfine. And I believe he was, like, the first boss that actually was hard in the Black Temple. And the only reason he was hard was because it was kind of a vehicle-based encounter. You did have to take control of, like, fallen souls. We don't have to worry about that too much, because we're going to kill him fast, but... Oh, no. He's doing his thing. Somebody stop him. Let's do some more Storm Earth and Fire. Face of Fury! Boom! And Terran Gorfine has fallen off the ledge. No. Soul Cleaver, I already have that. And the Cloak I already have. As you can tell, I've done this place quite a number of times because, man, Tier 6 was awesome. For a lot of classes. Specifically Warriors. Warriors, I think, got the best set in it. Now, a lot of people would disagree with me. Like, they would think Warlocks and Druids and Shamans walked away pretty good. I like the Warrior set. It's so awesome to be able to look at today. Everything else is really, really cool. In fact, I think I have, like, one of each, except the Hunter one. The Hunter one freaks me the heck out. I have no problem admitting that. Just the eyes looking around in your shoulders. Ugh. Oh, that's creepy to me. It makes me not feel good. Ah, crap. I got more attention than I wanted. That's okay, though. We've taken care of them. Alright, so that actually is the upper battlement. Now we actually need to make our way back to the other end of the temple. To take on some of the other horrors that Illidan is creating with the Fel Orcs, as well as with the aid of his demons, or his fellow demons and all that fun stuff. We also will get another hint that I would actually recommend again if you guys can do the Greenfire questline. An interesting tidbit of lore is learned here, where we're about to go. So we have a bunch of Ash Tongue here now. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, the medallion back in the day used to have an awesome... Nope, can't teleport anymore. It used to actually offer an instant teleport to the Black Temple, but nope. Not anymore. You could be attuned, but you can't get an instant teleport anymore. There are too many portals. Here we go. So now we're going to kind of go into the war factory of the Fel Orcs. Into the halls of anguish. But as you can see, they're already doing some interesting things to these orcs. They're also melding other magics into them, as well as Fellblood. But before we take care of any of the orcs, we have another bigger problem. As you can see, there's a bunch of ghosts over there. Why is that? Well, that's our next boss, actually. So let's go ahead and kill these guys. Screw you. Okay. So here are some soul fragments. So basically, this is the beginnings of Illidan trying to build a soul engine, roughly, in order to power some of the schemes that Illidan was trying to accomplish. He did eventually need to resort to demonic ways of doing it. Which the Illidan novel kind of gives a perception of he didn't care, but I think deep down he did. You know, like he didn't want to be the enemy. But you couldn't have avoided it at this point. And so here is the next boss, the Reliquary of Souls. And there's also another lore tidbit I'll explain after we take it down. Because this one's another complicated boss to take on. Holy crap, man. We're actually almost done. Let's see. So, Reliquary of Souls. Reliquary of Souls is a boss in the Black Temple. The boss is a figure with 3 faces, representing the essences of anger, desire, and suffering, respectively. The 3 have to be defeated, blah, 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 blah. Yes. It's basically a giant gauntlet. There isn't too much lore with the Reliquary, but it's actually a really cool design, as you're about to see. Oh no, we've come down, and now it senses our presence. I'm actually glad that the new Tomb of Sargeras will have a boss very similar to this. So, first with the Essence of Suffering. Face of Fury! There we go. So every time that you actually take out one of the essences, then get ready for a bunch of waves of ghosts, or enslaved souls, rather. We don't have to worry about it too much because we have awesome new abilities that help out with it. As you can see. But you just have to take care of these souls until until the next essence comes out from the Reliquary. Okay, no more. So he's about to come back out. Except this time, the essence of desire.
You can
Fist of Fury! I don't want what you have to offer, lady! Oh no, I've been stunned. Oh no, she actually puts up a barrier, and now she's dead. I'm awesome like that. So now we'll have another wave of enslaved souls. Yeah, as you can see, these dungeons were pretty long back in the day. Oh no, so many enslaved souls. Whatever will I do? How about this? Kill them all. Is that it? Yay! Final round. I love the design. So the essence of anger is the last one. Do you now? Well, I live and have Fists of Fury, so we can both enjoy each other at this point. Boom. 20, 10, 3, and there you go. The Reliquary of Souls has been defeated. Now, another cool aspect of this area, you'll notice that there's a bunch of runes on the ground and something below. This actually, according to the Greenfire questline, was when the Blood Elves came to Illidan, they were looking more for a solution to their magic addiction. This was actually Illidan's solution. He was going to use one of his vials, he had many vials of the Well of Eternity, I believe, and use it here to satisfy the Blood Elves' magical addiction. That way he could keep them as allies, all that stuff. But unfortunately it backfired, and Kael'thas just kind of took that as the impression of, you're not doing anything for me, I might as well go and hoard mana up at Tempest Keep, because that's the only way that we're handling the problem. Roughly because Illidan wasn't solving anything quickly. He was making people suffer so that in turn he could get their loyalty. So that backfired in some cases. But it was interesting to learn later that, you know, when we got initial Burning Crusade lore, he wasn't doing anything. He was according to Burning Crusade lore, he was forever changed by his battle with Arthas in the Frozen Throne and became paranoid, crazy, all of that stuff. But now we're learning more like he still had plans. He still wanted to get other things done. But unfortunately, he would always have this thorn in his side, namely kill Jaden, namely having to deal with Kael'thas. And this was one of them. The fact that he actually was going to fulfill his promise to Kael'thas the best way that he knew he could, but it did mean servitude to him. It did mean that you had to fuel Illidan's war machine against the Legion. Everything comes back to the Legion for Illidan. All of his ulterior motives that made him look crazy here was because he was launching invasions of Legion worlds to try and secure a way into Argus. He wanted to take the fight to the Legion. Illidan's a cool guy. That's all I'm basically saying, guys. Illidan's a cool dude. Alright, so let's go ahead and kill off these remaining Fel Orcs. And fine. Boom. Boom. That worked out so well for you. And here comes our next boss, who actually came back later in Warlords of Draenor, Gurtog Bloodboil. And I don't think there's a whole lot of lore concerning him, but we will double check, because I want to be able to do this for you guys. Gurtog Bloodboil. He is a dire orc boss in the Black Temple. The fight is a battle for survival. Yeah, not really a whole lot known. But I do believe we get more information in Warlords of Draenor about him. But I don't want to read that because it's a Draenor version of him. You guys will see when we get to Warlords of Draenor, but there's alternate timeline stuff that's being dealt with, so I don't necessarily want to get into that and confuse things until I absolutely have to. But here we go. He is the equivalent of a dire orc, so he has been infused with much, much demon blood, which powers him. And so at this point, he was pretty much the DPS check believe he was, for everything after this point, because we have a couple of bosses after him leading up to Illidan, and if you couldn't beat this guy, you did not have the DPS to be able to handle the other encounters you would come across. Do you now? Well, I kick you around. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Gertog is dead. And nothing. That sucks. So let's go ahead and go back upstairs. Thankfully, this is just a little bit of a shortcut so that we can make our way back to the main hall of the Black Temple. And now that we're done with all of these battlements, it's time for us to ascend into the upper pinnacle of Black Temple, where Illidan Stormrage resides. And as you've noticed, we've dealt with the Ashtongue, we've dealt with the Fell Orcs, we've dealt with the Naga, but we haven't dealt really with the Blood Elves yet. The Blood Elves kind of made up his tactical council, his magisters, his magical consultants. Like, they helped him out with trying to get to Argus or to various Legion worlds to launch attacks. And now we enter the Blood Elf portion, which was basically the Den of Mortal Delights. In order to satisfy their addiction, this is what Illidan had to do. So you even have like enslaved servants, and it is basically a brothel. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. and what makes this even better is that some of these blood elves aren't even blood elves. They are succubi in disguise to help keep the blood elves' addiction sated, so they can continue their help. They can continue their aid to Illidan as he assaulted various Legion worlds before we came in. And up to the next level, so we have even more succubi in the area. Problem is that if we pull these guys, we will pull all the nearby Blood Elf mistresses. There we go. Okay, so now we are past the Den of Mortal Delights. Now we actually come across the other portion of Illidan's forces, which you actually got to see a little bit more in the Demon Hunter starting zone, is, I don't think Mother Shiraz was actually there, but she did send a servant with some of these other Shavara demons to aid Illidan in his conquest of the planet Mardoon. So, there we go. We're going to try and avoid as much of this as we possibly can. Why pull all of the trash if we don't necessarily need to? But as you can see, we have a bunch of Shavara here. And even the Shavara that does help you in the Illidan's, in the Demon Hunter starting zone, she does very much look like a Mother Shiraz model. And the funniest part is she will have lines that just, they help so much with this Den of Mortal Delights. Okay, so let's see if she's got any additional lore before we kill her. Because now we're actually getting into tier territory. Okay, I'm going to move away so that the succubi don't pull. Mother Shiraz. Mother Shiraz is a Shavara boss. Ah, crap. Well, fine. I was going to try and make things easy for you guys, but you said no. Well, screw you then. Mother Shiraz is a Shavara boss located in the Black Temple. Besides requiring high amounts of shadow resistance, which is one of the reasons you would actually get that gear, there actually is really no lore about her, so she's just kind of the leader of the Den of Mortal Delights. Let's go ahead and take her out. Business or pleasure? You seem a little tense, sir. May I help you with that? No, you may not! Alright, so now she's gonna get crazy. This is where she kind of berserks and starts doing a ton of damage to people. There we go. Frenzy! If you want to label this a not safe for work video, I can't stop you. So there you go. So let's see, what did we get? We got a sultry grimoire. And it calls forth a sister of temptation. And we actually did get a blade of savagery. Oh, that's her sword. That's awesome. Okay, I want that. And then conqueror, so paladin, priest, warlock, pretty much everybody got shoulders today. I love the fact that I still get commentary on the tier ones now. It's like, no, you've been getting what I've been trying to get for months. I'm sorry, man. I knew that this was going to happen at some point. I was going to get tokens that people wanted, and you'd be like, no, I'm not lucky enough. I feel your pain. Can I just say that? I feel your pain. I've had that issue. Mainly in Pandaria. I tried forever to get the tier 15 shoulders for my druid, and it took me roughly the entire expansion to get them. I just wanted the LFR set because I like the green, but it took the entire frickin' expansion to do it. All right, so we continue our way up to the pinnacle, the top of Black Temple, and we come across more and more Blood Elf constructs. But now, instead of enthralled Blood Elves who are trying to satiate their magic addiction, now we're actually having legit warriors. Legit paladins, magisters. These are really the bigger brunt of Illidan's forces that remained loyal to him after Kael'thas betrayed him. So as you can see, we have battle mages, bloodlords. Yeah, it's nasty up here. We're gonna grab these guys too. Kill off all these guys. There we go. Take care of all of them. Which is appropriate because the next boss that we actually have is the Illidari Council. This was the war council for Illidan, and one of the things I really love about the Illidan novel, they included these guys quite a bit, because Illidan had to visit with them every day, even when he didn't want to, but they kept their names and kept that little bit of lore accurate. So let's go ahead and go into the Illidari Council, which I'll bet there's not a whole lot on these guys. A group of Blood Elf bosses. It's comparable to High King Mulgar. Yeah, there really isn't. So there's Lady Meland, who is a priest. High Nethermaster Zeravor, who I believe was he the Magister, or... So there's Zeravor right there, and there's Lady Meland. So he is the mage. Gathios the Shatterer, who is a paladin, or a blood knight in this case. And then Varus Dark Shadow, who was like an assassin, but not really. Like he has rogue abilities, but the book kind of implicates that he's more than that. He's got some magic to him as well. All right, so let's take him out. Now the sad part is that we're going to be focusing on Lady Meland, but they all share a health pool. The reason we are is because she can heal, and she has some pretty big heals too. But it doesn't matter, because we're going to kick these guys' butts. There we go. Illidari Council has been defeated. And we got Vanquisher, Protector, we got a Trinket, and... Oh, yeah. So, this is pretty good for everybody. We'll pass on all of it. Because, unfortunately, you can only sell the tokens for, like, 5 gold. Well, not really even worth it to fill my inventory with them. At least not right now. And we already have a Kama up here, so let's go ahead and talk to him. Why are you here?
The time has come to face Illidan, Drakfu. Are you ready?
I am ready, Akama! Let's do this! Illidan's so awesome. Can I get his autograph before I kill him?
No.
Oh. But...
Go be a demon hunter, and then you can celebrate him all you want.
Okay, I'll do that. Coming up next on the Tale of Drakfu, Drakfu the Demon Hunter. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna, after all the work I just put in.
This door is all that stands between us and the betrayer. Stand aside, friends.
Oh no, he can't open it.
I cannot do this alone.
But you are not alone, because you have the power of friendship, Akama.
You are not alone, Akama. Your people will always be with you.
So Odalo and Olam actually come to him, and we know who Odalo and Olam are from Arcatraz and from Serpentine Cavern. So they come together to open up all of the wards on Illidan's final door. Because people just assume he was a demon hunter, period. No, he was a very accomplished mage.
I thank you for your aid, brothers. Our people will be redeemed.
All right, it's time. We are at the top. We are at the top of the temple, the summit. And you can see off in the distance the betrayer himself, Illidan Stormrage.
Be wary, friends. The betrayer meditates in the court just beyond.
He does. And we can't do this alone, Akama.
Be wary.
So yeah, he says that. We are ready to face Illidan, Akama. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this, everybody. Here's the moment that everybody's been waiting for in the Burning Crusade up until 2.1.
Akama, your duplicity is hardly surprising. I should have slaughtered you and your malformed brethren long ago.
We've come to end your reign, Illidan. My people and all of Outland shall be free.
Boldly said, but I remain unconvinced.
The time has come. The moment is at hand.
Here's the line.
are not prepared.
Oh no! He said the line! So fun fact, in case you don't know who actually voices Illidan, and you're an anime fan, you should know, it is Liam O'Brien. AKA, if you're a Naruto fan, you've heard him voice Gaara. Alright, so here comes the next phase where we have to actually deal with the Warglaives themselves. Oh no! They are fell elementals even of themselves! No! We have to deal with the fell blood of Azeroth! Or rather, just the flames. There we go! So now we've taken care of him, that's the second phase. He will summon back the glaives. Oh yes! And we are not looking at him properly. There we go. Illidan, you must fall! Face our fury! Boom! Oh!
Is this it, mortals? Is this all the fury you can muster?
No, I could put you about 10 times harder now.
Their fury pales before mine, Illidan. We have some unsettled business between us.
Maiev, how is it even possible?
Ah, my long hunt is finally over. Today, justice will be done.
Okay, I'll also put her video in there, the story of Maiev Shadowsong. So you guys also can get this, because this is also a pivotal moment for her. It's time for us to kill him. Time for the betrayer to go down.
It is finished. You are beaten.
You have won, Maiev. But the Huntress is nothing without the
All these lines.
You are nothing without
He is right. I feel nothing. I am nothing. Farewell, champions.
It's actually kind of a sad ending for Maiev.
Falls once again. I swear it.
So as you can see, the aftermath of Black Temple is that... Do I actually have to kill you? There we go. I just had to punch you one more time. As you could see, the aim of this, and actually the end game for Akama, is that he does get Karabor to himself. He can bless the Dismal Halls once again, until Warlocks come along in the Mists of Pandaria to try and gather some of the Fell Essence in the Black Temple. But oh well. Wow. Okay. If I see orange text, I'm gonna freak out a little bit, guys. I'm not even kidding. Okay, all right. I'm actually kind of happy about that. No warglaves. That would freak me out a little bit. Crystal Spire of Karabor. Yep, I'll get that. Let's go ahead and grab that. We get 12 gold. I'm not gonna worry about the tokens, but unfortunately, it looks like rogues, druids, and mages were left out today. So if you were hoping to get your chest, you couldn't get it. And that is it, everybody. That is the supposed end. Well, I'm not saying supposed. That is the end of the of the Burning Crusade. Not quite. So this was 2.1, and we eventually did get a bunch of other patches, which, first of all, in 2.2, we dealt with the Amani threat in the Eversong Wood / Ghostlands, but we'll take care of that later because it's been revamped for Cataclysm. But when we come back next time for Dungeons and Drakfus, we will deal with the threat that came after Illidan as we take on the fury of the Sunwell and the return of Kael'thas Sunstrider. We'll see you guys then.